with us tonight, who revolutionized comic books back in the 60s with the creation of a number of superheroes: Spider-Man, Daredevil, the Fantastic Four, the Hulk. He's the man responsible for Marvel Comics. You've seen these on the stand. This is Stan Lee. What do they mean when they say comic book revolution?
Well, I don't know what they mean, but to us, we mean the Marvel comic books, which we like to think started a new style in comics, more realistic. If you can imagine fantasy superheroes being realistic, that's the gimmick.
Yes, well, I can't. But the pictures are spectacular, and your own role in this was to create the characters themselves and even draw them.
I created a lot of them, and I was the head writer, the art director, and the editor. Then a few years later, they made me the publisher, so I stopped writing them. Now the only comic book writing I do is the Spider-Man newspaper strip, which is around the world. And I'm out here hoping to put these and other properties into movies and television shows.
Well, let's take a look at the Spider-Man cover. And there you see Spider-Man with what appears to be a regular girl, but she's been, she's been alive here.
She is not in good condition.
Her hair is in bed. So this is something that our children are reading, Stan.
Well, you're making me feel incredibly comfortable out here.
No, I don't mean to do that at all. But I know you'll have great justification for the fantasy in these comics.
Actually, if people don't get hurt and aren't in trouble and aren't menaced in these stories, you're not going to get anybody to read them.
Right.
Just like in the adventure movies, if somebody isn't being killed or chased or in a car crash, nobody is going to go to see them.
And the truth is, your people are saving them and coming to the rescue.
Magnificent.
Showing goodness and virtue.
Oh, sure. It's the only thing in comics. These are incredibly educational, you know. See, basically they're educational publications, and the entertainment value is just subliminal. We sneak that in. But these are sort of the pictorial equivalent of the Harvard Classics, the Encyclopedia Britannica. They just teach slightly different subjects, that's all.
Well, in one sense, you're probably not even being facetious at all, because there are plenty of kids who aren't reading much of anything anymore.
Well, the funny thing is, without trying to be overly dramatic, which I love to try to be, comic books basically are probably the last bastion, the last defense against the creeping illiteracy occasioned by television, because, as you know, most kids will spend as much time as possible in front of a TV set. You can't get them to read, but you take a Marvel comic book and put it on the coffee table between the youngster and the TV set, and slowly but surely he will grab that book and pick it up and look at those ridiculous pictures and be fascinated by it. Now, in order to know what's happening, he's got to read the words. And even though he doesn't want to read particularly, before he knows it, he's enjoying the story, and eventually they go on to read real things.
Does it say anything about our world that we used to read Daffy Duck and Woody Woodpecker, and now the Fantastic Four and Friends and Enemies?
There are still humor books published. In fact, we still publish a few, but strangely enough, no, it isn't strangely, the same kids who like Star Wars, same kids who like Raiders of the Lost Ark and so forth, they're the ones who like this.
Yes.
It just occurred to me, you make a very good point that at least you were introducing them to words, which is quite a trick anyway these days, as you say. But why stop there? Why don't you go on and introduce them to the classics? You could have Spider-Man meets the New Testament.
You read that one, did you, son of a gun?
Spider-Man meets Hamlet or whatever, you know?
Yes,
well, the
Fantastic
funny
Four
thing
meets Medusa.
You're only talking about Spider-Man. We have a line of more than 40 of them. Now, one of them involves the mighty Thor, god of thunder, in which we explore the old Norse mythology, and it's all based on mythology, and they even speak in a pseudo-Shakespearean and biblical parlance. I might add also, and I don't want to get too sticky about this, we're still talking about comic books, but we use college-level vocabulary. If we want to use words like proselytize, misanthropic, we go ahead and we do it, and we don't worry about the young kids, and we find that they enjoy the stories as much as the older ones, but we've encouraged an entire older audience to read comics too, which may be good or it may be bad.
But when you say misanthropic, there's always a picture of a misanthropic person right there.
If you can draw a misanthropic, you're pretty good.
Incredible Hulk from Marvel Comics and Stanley. We'll be right back with Stan and some more. Stay tuned. from Marvel Comics. And Stan, one thing about your comic book characters is they also have some human qualities, for instance.
Well, they're done by human beings like me. I've modeled a lot of them after me. For example, Spider-Man. I mean, he's just as apt to have an allergy attack while he's saving the world, or he worries about fallen arches, or his dandruff. And
Spider-Man doesn't even have any hair.
Well, he does under.
His premature dandruff. Okay.
You know, incidentally, one thing I've thought of, one great thing I think about the Spider-Man costume, every kind of kid relates to him. You could be an Oriental, you could be black, you could be an Eskimo, but the mere fact that you can't tell through the mask what type of person he is makes it very easy for kids all around the world to empathize with Spider-Man. I often thought that might be one reason for success, besides the allergy attacks, which I'm sure are irresistible to your average reader.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, well, the Hulk, he has a little problem, too. He turns into a monster whenever he least expects it.
Yes,
we have a character, Iron Man, who has a weak heart, and on and on. They've all got some ridiculous flaw, some Achilles heel.
And do you find that adults read the comics at all, or is it cut off at a certain age?
Man and boy, for 15 years, I used to lecture around the country at colleges, never less than once a week, 52 weeks a year, and each year the audiences were larger and larger, and it is amazing the questions that these college students would ask. Like they'd say, with Dr. Strange, how do you equate the judo Christian ethic with the various mystical concepts, and on and on.
Yes.
I mean, they read so much into it.
Or where can I get a tattoo is the commercial at the end of it. Well, thank you very much, Stan, for sharing these with us. I appreciate it. Best of luck in the film enterprise at Marvel Comics. Thank you all, Robert. Thank you, Steve. It's a pleasure. Thank you. Nice to see you, Ruth. We're back here every night, so come on and join us. Be good to each other. We're going to get a hold of my grandma, isn't it? Another night, I guess. Carl, Derek.
Thicke of the Night has been brought to you by Rolaids. For acid indigestion or heartburn, Rolaids spells 100% relief. Promotional consideration provided by... In Los Angeles, our celebrity guests stay at the luxurious Westwood Marquis, the distinctive hotel. Thicke of the Night is a production of Intermedia Entertainment Company and Thick of It Productions in association with Metro Media Producers Corporation and MGM UA Television Distribution.